Welcome back. Today we are going to do two looks with the Odens Eye Merry Christmas palette. I'm so excited to show you guys the looks I created, and if you're eager to see how I created this gorgeous look, then keep watching because we're about to get started. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Heather Eaglin. I love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and indie brands. If you guys love those things too, then I hope you will subscribe and click the little bell so you can be notified of all my future uploads. And just a little info about what else is on my face. I am wearing the Give Beauty Feeling Cheeky Amplifying Blush Duo in the shade Flirty Talk, and the Odens Eye Soul Mane Sunlight Love Blusher in the shade Warm Sun. And for highlight, I used my BLENDBUNNY NOCTILUCENT palette. I used the shade Enlighten. For lips, I used my Unearthly Cosmetics lip pencil in the shade Fiery, and the Love Jasmine cream lipstick from Odens Eye, and topped it with the Glow Radioactive gloss from Odens Eye. It was from the Halloween collection. I'll have all these products and everything else I used linked in my description box as always. The Odens Eye Merry Christmas palette retails for $43.90. It is a 16 color eyeshadow palette and contains 8 mattes, 1 multi-chrome, and 7 shimmery shades. If you didn't know, these are last year's Christmas release from Odens Eye. They brought them back this year because everyone went nuts when they sold out, including myself, and they brought them back with 2 new palettes. I couldn't afford to get all 4 of them, and there was no way I was missing out on the older ones, so I bought them, and now I'm glad I did because they are sold out. I've been looking for information on a restock, and I haven't found any yet, but I will update you guys in my community tab when I find out more information. I'll pop up pictures of the other 2 palettes here on the screen. I might still pick them up if I can, but let me know if you guys picked any of these up, or if you already own these palettes from last year. I'm eager to hear your thoughts down below. So I started out using my Sigma E54 medium sweeper brush, and I just picked up some of the shade Poinsettia, and I'm just placing that on my outer corner in my crease, and I'm leaving the front portion of my eye open because I want to go in with another shade. So for that, I'm going in with the shade Best Wish, and I'm using my Singe Beauty EO1, and I'm just placing that in the front portion of my crease and in my inner corner. I'm just packing it on and then blending it out as I go. Now I'm going back into the shade Poinsettia, and I'm using my Singe Beauty EO5. It's just a really small blending brush to pick up more of that shade. I'm just packing it on and blending it out until I'm happy with it. Lately, I've been trying some new techniques when it comes to putting on my eyeshadow, and so far I like the old way the best. Now I'm going back in with my Singe Beauty EO2, and I picked up the shade New Leaf. It's like a gray toned green. It's such a beautiful shade, but I'm just placing that in the front portion of my crease. I wanted to add a little depth to it because I know that this red is going to be dark by the time I get done with it, and I wanted the look to look more seamless, if that makes sense. But it probably doesn't because I'm doing this voice part at 8 o'clock in the morning, so I'm half asleep. But going back in with my Singe Beauty EO4, I picked up more of that shade Best Wish, and I'm just using that to blend on the very edges of the shade New Leaf. Now going back in with my Sigma E54 medium sweeper brush, I'm picking up more of the Poinsettia shade, and I'm just using the packing side of this brush to really pack on that red pigment. I'm trying to deepen it up, and then I'll go back in and blend it out. But I'm just concentrating that into the outer part of my crease and that outer V. Now using my Singe Beauty EO2, I'm picking up the shade Hot Cocoa. It's like a deep brick red. It's so beautiful. I like that I'm able to deepen it up by pressing it on, and these shades, the mattes in this palette, they pack really good on top of each other. Some formulas you can't do that with, and in that case it's best to start with the dark, but this formula is great. I really love it personally. But now I'm going back in with my Singe Beauty EO4, and I'm picking up more of that shade New Leaf, and I'm just deepening up that inner portion a little bit more. Now I'm going back into the shade Hot Cocoa, and I'm doing that with the same Sigma E54 medium sweeper brush, and I'm just trying to deepen up that outer corner. Then going back in with my Singe Beauty EO2, I'm just blending that out, and I haven't added any extra product to the brush. I just want to try to get that deeper shade blended in with the red. Using my Sigma E30 pencil brush, I'm going into the shade Happy Ending, which is black. That's a little messed up because black equals darkness. You know what I'm getting at, and I'm just using that in the outer V to try to deepen up this eye look a little bit. And then going back in with my Singe Beauty EO2, I haven't added any extra product. I'm just blending that black into the Hot Cocoa shade. Now on my Singe Beauty EO2, I'm mixing the Hot Cocoa shade with the Happy Ending black shade, and I just am pressing that on my outer corner and blending that up and out. I thought this might be a good idea to get the colors to blend better, since the contrast in the last two shadows I used are so drastically different. Now using my Singe Beauty EO1, I'm going back into the shade New Leaf, and I'm just running this along my lower lash line, blending it most of the way across to the inner corner. Singe Beauty is having a new release next week, and I don't know what it is, but she's gave many hints about it, so I'm really excited to see what it is. I'll be happy if it's brushes or a new palette. I'd be really happy if it was a new palette, but now I'm going in with the really small sweeper brush. This one's from Do Color, and I picked up the shade Christmas Tree, which is actually a teal, which makes no sense to me, but I know Odens isn't a brand in a country that celebrates Christmas, I'm pretty sure. So maybe they don't know that Christmas trees are green, but it's whatever. Now using that same Singe Beauty brush, I went into the shade New Leaf, and I'm just using that to blend this out. I cleaned off the brush on my Sigma switch, and now I'm going into the shade Best Wish. This shade is so beautiful and bright, but I'm just using that to blend out those deeper shades, and I placed it in my inner corner on the lower lash line as well. Now using that small brush from Do Color, I picked up some of the black, and I'm just trying to deepen up the outer corner of the lower lash line. I like very dramatic looks, and I love the shape that this gives my eye. I know a lot of you on my channel recreate these looks with different palettes, and I just want to say, if you do, please tag me in them on Instagram, because I would love to see what you guys come up with. I think that's so fun. Me, I'm not one, I don't remember like exact shades in some of my palettes unless they're like absolutely favorites. But so it's hard for me to do that, but I think it's so cool that people can and they know exactly what they have in their collection. I just think that's awesome. I would really love to see what you guys come up with. My Instagram name is the same as my YouTube channel name. It's just Ashesonmylashes. But now I went back in with that pencil brush, and I added more of the black to try to make it even from the lid to my lower lash line. And then I went back in with my Singe Beauty E02 with no added product, and I just blended the black into the red shades on my lid. Now I went in with my NYX glitter glue, and I started off with a flat packing brush, and I picked up the shade New Year. It's such a beautiful like emerald green, and I just placed that on my outer corner beside the black shade that I placed. Now I'm going in with that same brush. I'm just using the other side, and I'm going into the shade Elf Wish, and I'm going to place that on the inner portion of my lid and in the center. This shade is freaking fabulous. It's a multi-chrome that shifts from green, pink, and gold, and is freaking beautiful. I know I already said that. It's probably my favorite shade in the palette. It looks so fiery orange from here, and I think it might be because I mixed it with those reds, and that's not even one of the flips that's described in the shades, which is so freaking cool. Now I'm using my finger and I'm picking up some more of that New Year shade, and I'm just blending that into the Elf Wish shade. I want it to look more seamless. And because I took my shimmers out too far, like I always do, I went back into the black shade on my Sigma E30 pencil brush, and I'm just re-intensifying that and blending that black into the emerald shade a little bit. Well, it's the New Year shade, but it looks like an emerald to me. It's so pretty, but I really love the way this look turned out. And I used my pencil brush to create like a liner that's blended and smudged out. I really love the way that that looked as well. Now I'm using a little flat packing brush. This one came from the Glam Light Friday the 13th collection. And I've just picked up some of that shade Snowman. It's a duochrome, and it's described as a light pink and purple duochrome, but it does have little green like glitter flecks in it. It's so pretty, and I've just placed that on my inner corner. Now I'm going to go finish this look, and here is the finished look. I love it so much. I think it turned out beautifully. For liner, I used the ColourPop cream gel liner in the shade Aglow. It matches the green on my inner corner perfectly. I really loved the way this turned out. You guys will have to let me know down below after we get into the next look which look was your favorite by the end of it. I just really loved the Elf Wish shade on the lid. I think it was the shade that really made the whole look personally. I'll go ahead and tell you what's on my face in this look. For lips, I used the Unearthly lip liner in the shade Fiery, and I used the matte liquid lipstick in the shade Swamp Fog. It's from the Odens HELLAWEEN collection. And for blush, I used the Soulmane Sunlight Love Blusher from Odens in the shade Peach Gleam and in the shade Warm Sun. And for highlight, I used the shade Snowman from this palette, and it ended up working really good on my skin tone. I'm really hoping the video quality on this portion of the video looks okay. I actually forgot to zoom in, and I had to zoom in while editing. It'll only last this way for like 2 minutes, and then I realize I'm not zoomed in and I fix it. But if not, I apologize. I hope it's all right though, and everything looks fine. I'm starting out the look with my Singe Beauty EL1 brush and going into the shade Matcha Cookies. It's such a pretty green, and I've just placed that in my inner corner. And now picking up my Singe Beauty EO2, I went into the shade Gingerbread. It's like a burnt orange, and I'm just placing that in the outer corner. I really love this shade. I planned on doing something completely different than the first look, but I needed some of the shade Hot Cocoa later to deepen it up, and the mattes in it look kind of similar to the first look, but when I add the shimmers, it ends up making the look completely different. But I just hate that I did 2 red looks, but it is what it is. The first brush that I used with the gingerbread shade was actually the Singe Beauty EO3. It's a large blending brush, but now I'm going in with my Singe Beauty EO2, which is a small blending brush, and I'm going back into that same shade, and I'm just trying to deepen it up while blending it out at the same time. I think I like packing on the shades better and then blending them out. I think I get a more effortless blend. I noticed while doing these looks, I was trying the new technique, like I said earlier, and I got a lot of skipping. And I think it's maybe because I'm not used to doing eyeshadow looks this way, so my technique isn't exactly great, but I think from now on I'm going back to the way I always do it. But now I'm going in with the Sigma E54 medium sweeper, and I'm going into the shade Hot Cocoa, and I've just placed that in the crease and on the outer corner. Now I'm going back into that same shade, but this time I'm using a Sigma E27 detailed blending brush. It's like a small blending brush, but it has an angle at the end of it. And I'm really trying to pack that on more and blend it out. I'm trying to fix the skipping. I spent longer on this eyeshadow look than I usually do. It's not the formula. It's the same Odens eye formula that they've had for a very long time, and I don't ever have issues with their formula. It's just the way I changed up my technique. But if you guys see that, I just wanted to let you know why it's there. I don't want you to think that it's the palette causing it. But I've just packed on more of that shade, and I'm just getting the depth with this look. I really love the way these mattes look. Obviously, I did them twice. Not exact, but close. Now I'm going back in with my Singe Beauty EO3, the large blending brush, and I picked up some of that shade Gingerbread, and I'm just using that to blend out the hot cocoa shade. I'm currently waiting on the new palette from BLENDBUNNY. I think it's pronounced the Makina palette, but I'm not sure. And I'm waiting on the Dreamer collection from Unearthly, which is supposed to be shipping later on this month. Now I've realized that my camera wasn't zoomed in and I fixed it so you guys can see the look better. But I plan on picking up the Glam Like Garfield collection. I don't think I'm going to get the whole thing. I think I'm just going to get the palette and the blush and maybe like one or two of the other products because I'm not going to use that makeup bag. I have 100 mirrors and the eye mask. I never liked the Glam Light lashes, so I think I'm going to hold off on buying full collections for now. And plus, it's Christmas, so I plan on picking up the Bailey Sarian Melt Cosmetics collection as well. I'm really excited to play with that one. I also wanted to let you guys know if everything goes as planned, I have every intention of having a giveaway on my channel with the Christmas Eve palette from this palette bundle that I got from Odens Eye. So just stay tuned and keep an eye out for that because it's a big box of skincare and makeup, and I put some of my favorite palettes in there as well. And I'm excited to do my first Christmas giveaway on my channel. Back to the eye look, I used my Singe Beauty EO1 and I went into the shade Matcha Cookies and I just placed that in my inner corner. And then I went back in with my E54 medium sweeper brush and I just picked up more of the shade Hot Cocoa and I re-intensified it. And then I went back in with my Singe Beauty EO5 blending brush and just blended that shade out. And now I'm going in with a medium blending brush. This one is from the Glam Light Friday the 13th collection. And I went into the shade Poinsettia, and that's where the mistake was made. And I just added that to the Hot Cocoa shade to try to get it to blend better in between the Hot Cocoa and the Gingerbread shades. Now using my Singe Beauty EO5, it's a really small detailed blending brush. I went into the shade Happy Ending, and which is the black. Still makes no sense. But I'm just adding that to the outer V of this eye look, trying to add a little more depth to my outer corner. Now using ABH Cosmetics medium blending brush, I'm going back into the shade Hot Cocoa, and I'm just using that to blend out that black matte. Using my Singe Beauty EO1, I'm just picking up the shade Matcha Cookies, and I'm running that along my lower lash line, trying to bring some more of that green in. I will say where I set underneath my eyes with setting powder, the shade isn't laying down very well. Now I'm going in with the shade Gingerbread, and I'm just placing that underneath of that shade Matcha Cookies, trying to get it to blend out. I love how orange this shade looks. Orange is one of my favorite colors in everything, but especially with makeup. Now using a small smudging brush from Do Color, I went into the shade Happy Endings, which is that black, and I'm just placing that up against my lower lash line as tight as I can get it. I just want the depth to be in that outer corner as I always do. And now I'm going back in with my Singe Beauty EO1, and I picked up more of that shade Matcha, and I'm just using that to blend out the black shade in this eye look. I'm kind of smoking it up a little bit into the outer corner. Now I'm going in with my NYX glitter glue. For that, I'm using a BH Cosmetics packing brush. It's one of my favorite packing brushes, and I think this is the Say It collection. I actually got this set from TJ Maxx. I love going there. You can get the greatest deals sometimes. But now using the sticky side of that brush, I'm picking up the shade All Right. This is such a fiery orange metallic. It's so freaking beautiful. It's one of the first shades I noticed in this palette. But I'm just placing that on the front portion of my lid. I'm taking it as close to the outer corner as I can get it. And then I'll go back in and make sure those two are blended. Now using the other side of my brush, I'm going into the shade Jingle Bell. This is a duochrome and it has a green gold flip. It's so beautiful, but I'm just placing that on the inner portion of the lid and blending it into the All Right shade. Now I'm picking up the shade Snowman, and I put this on the very inner portion of my lid, and I layer it a little bit over top of the shade Jingle Bells. This is the shade I use for highlight, so I wanted to incorporate it in the look somewhere. Now I'm using a pencil brush. This one is from Do Color, and I'm taking that same shade with no glitter glue or anything on it, and I'm just putting that in my inner corner. I don't like how that brush is picking it up, so I decided to just go in with my finger. I love a really glittery highlight shade. Now using my Singe Beauty EO5, which is that really small detailed blending brush, I picked up the shade Hot Cocoa, and I'm just blending that red into the orange shimmer so it looks more blended. Now I'm going back in with my Sigma pencil brush, and I picked up the shade Happy Endings, and I'm just re-intensifying that outer corner, trying to bring some of that depth back in because I blended it out with the red just a little bit. Sorry if you can hear my dogs in the background. They have the zoomies. Here is the finished eye look. I really love it. You'll have to let me know which one is your favorite, the first or the second, especially since they do look kind of similar. I used the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Punch. It is one of my favorites. And I topped my lip combo off with the Glow Radioactive Gloss. It's the same one I used in the first look. As I mentioned earlier, I'll have all these products linked in the description box down below. And I'll try to update you guys on the restock of this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way to the end. And as I mentioned, the Christmas Eve palette will be next, and that one will have the giveaway. So if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss that video. And until next time, bye.